Hey, what's up, y'all? It's Frank Payne with another episode of Loud and Unfiltered. Before we get to what we're doing, I do want to show off a new little gift I got. Sweet little Dr. Pepper tumbler that my awesome aunt sent me. Sure do love her. Got to get that Diet Dr. Pepper in me. In my new Dr. Pepper tumbler. This is so cool. Hold on. Boom. Well, there we go. Oh, that's damn good stuff right there. All right, so while I wasted a little bit of your time pouring my Dr. Pepper and taking a little swig, today we're going to have a flashback interview going back to 2015. This time we're going to be talking to Geoff Tate, formerly of Queensryche. You know the voice, the legendary voice of Geoff Tate. Well, back in 2015, he was just about to go out on tour with Operation Mindcrime, had just released the first of a trilogy of records. The first was The Key, followed by Resurrection, and The New Reality, I believe. So a lot of stuff going on in Geoff Tate's world. We're going to talk about the tour. We're going to talk about how he keeps his voice up. A little hint, it's healthy living. It's as easy as that. It's going to be a great one, man. I chose Geoff Tate as a flashback today because, well, he's out on a big tour right now, and he's in our region that I live in, and I'm hearing a lot of friends talk about going to the show. So why not do a little flashback to see what he was up to in 2015 and see how things have changed here in 2022. So enjoy it. It's another episode of Loud and Unfiltered, this time featuring Geoff Tate. I'm the Pain Man, and I now have the honor of being joined on the phone by the legendary Geoff Tate of Operation Mindcrime. Geoff, how are you this afternoon?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
I'm fantastic, man. I literally have goosebumps on my arms right now, and I don't get that way all the time. But for those listening, Geoff is one of the most legendary voices in all of rock history. Brought us hits like Jet City Woman, Silent Lucidity, Eyes of a Stranger. I mean, I can go on and on and on. It's, Now let's talk about, everybody knows about the history that you've got with Queensryche, but we've got a new chapter in Geoff Tate's life known as Operation Mindcrime. First off, give us a little insight on why you chose the name Operation Mindcrime.
Well, I have a new project. It's kind of a more focused on conceptual writing.
Right.
And I have a trilogy of albums that are coming out. The first one just came out September 18th. It's called The Key. And it's a story, one long story told over 3 records. And quite an interesting project, more, I guess, aimed at my roots of music, which came from progressive rock.
Now, you're talking about the debut album being The Key. This was just released. It's part of a trilogy. Now, I mean, when people think of trilogies, there are plenty of trilogies that you can immediately envision, like in cinema. So at the end of, say, a Star Wars movie, you're automatically set up for the next one. People already start creating these storylines, what could happen next. Is that the way that you kind of went with The Key?
A little bit, yeah. Well, I kind of think in terms of cinema when I write music, and so the songs are like scenes in a film.
Right on.
And they kind of tell or set the tone for what's happening, what's in the storyline. So if you listen to it from front to end, that's how it's designed. Really, it all starts making sense. And the last track on the album is called "The Fall," and that kind of sets us up for the second record.
I was actually about to ask you about that because I had read that The Fall is the end of this record and the beginning of the next. Now, is it something that, the next record will have The Fall in full on it, or, kind of how does that lead into it?
Well, you have to kind of wait and see, but it definitely sets up for the beginning of the second record. Definitely.
Yeah, you caught where I was going with it. I was trying to catch you.
I did, and I wasn't going to fall into the trap.
Geoff Tate of Operation Mindcrime. You've been doing this. You've been doing this a while. You know that when the radio people try to bait the hook like that, you've probably never been caught on stuff like that.
No, I have a few times, yeah.
So
and regretted it.
Oh, we've all got regrets in our life. That's what makes us the people that we are today. That's it's all good. But let's not talk about regrets. Let's talk about inspiration. I mean, because literally a legendary voice in the history of rock and roll, legendary musician, legendary artist. You've been the inspiration for so many artists to follow you. I mean, I've heard over and over bands come in the studio at like Geoff Tate, and because radio, we got to ask those cliche questions. What's your inspiration, Geoff Tate? So, what inspires Geoff Tate?
Oh gosh, well, I find it at my age, which I'm approaching 60 now.
No, whoa! Wait a minute, hold on. You're kidding me.
I know. It's crazy to think. A lot of my musical inspiration came from the 60s and the 70s.
Yeah.
The time period I kind of grew up in, which was really a wonderful time in music. And there were so many great bands and artists creating really unique music at the time. And that's really where I was inspired by conceptual work. The Beatles' Sgt. Pepper's was the first album I ever bought.
Wow.
And that kind of set the tone for what I became interested in, later on.
Yeah. Now, okay, so with that being said, I as well I draw a lot of I'm not a musician, but being around music, I have a lot of inspiration, a lot of influence from earlier stuff, like you were talking about. I've got a lot, from the Beatles, from Zeppelin, Sabbath, and stuff like that. If that's where you draw yours, do you have any muses of the day? I mean, is there anything that really has caught your ear with modern day music? Doesn't have to be rock, whether it's any kind of genre. Is there anything that really sticks out to you?
Well, I like a lot of different kinds of music. I have probably 10,000 albums in my collection, and from all styles, really, from classical music to R&B to jazz, opera, gosh, you name it, and I've got examples of it. I don't know if I could really name a certain artist or that I find inspirational. There's a lot of great music out nowadays. Yeah. My biggest challenge is I don't have a lot of time to listen to a lot of stuff because I'm pretty much wrapped up in what I'm doing.
Right.
So and when you're writing music and writing songs, the songs you're working on are constantly playing in your head. So listening to other music doesn't really, I don't know, it kind of becomes a distraction.
Oh, I got you.
In a sense.
Yeah.
So, I don't even have a way to play music in my car. So I'm completely, immersed in my own thing most of the time.
Well, no, and that makes complete sense. I mean, because with the style that you've kind of written your entire life and stuff, because I mean, you were talking about you come from a conceptual type of era and type of influence and stuff, and the way that you write, I can see I can see literally Geoff Tate driving in his car and lyrics just falling out. Like on those movies, you see, the guys envisioning the numbers floating in the sky and stuff. I can see Geoff Tate driving in his car and music notes and lyrics are just kind of floating around in the abyss there. That's kind
of really the way it is, and oftentimes I have a little recording device I carry around with me so I can put down my ideas, because at my age I start forgetting stuff. I got to remember what I'm writing.
I hear you. Hey, being around all these years, let's talk real quickly how you've been able to keep your voice up all these years. I mean, you've got one of the most distinctive sounds, and you haven't lost it. I mean, you can go back decades to a variety of different artists that are still performing to this day that just don't have it. And Geoff Tate still has it. I mean, is there a specific regimen that you follow that keeps it up, or is it just natural?
Well, I think part of it is your mental state.
Okay.
You know, I think
Yeah.
if you keep yourself in a positive frame of mind and surround yourself with positive people, that kind of keeps your spirits up, and it keeps you in a creative state of mind. You know, which is I think 90% of it, and the other 10% is keeping yourself physically active. You know, being agile and working out and that kind of thing. It's very, very important. You know, the older you get, you just don't have the metabolism that you used to have as a kid. You know, so you have to work extra hard at that.
Yeah. Well, it's from Geoff Tate's mouth to your ears. You got to stay mentally and physically alert and active. And, that's, I got to tell you, man, this really is an incredible honor to have you on the phone. And I'll try to wrap it up here in just a second. I got to ask you one thing about the key, though, the first of the trilogy from Operation Mindcrime. I mean, you've got an awesome, just incredible lineup and everything, but also a guest appearance by Dave Ellefson. Do you have, let's talk real quick how you got Dave involved, and then, any ideas on, special guests for future albums?
Well, Dave's involvement was kind of a surprise to both of us. Last year, I found myself on an airplane traveling to South America for a one-off show.
Yeah.
And I got seated next to Dave on the flight.
Wow.
And we had never met each other. We didn't know each other, but we ended up spending 18 hours on the flight talking music and family and marriage and life.
Wow.
And got along really well. And then we both did our show down there, and then we ended up traveling back on the same flight. So
wow.
We really got to know each other well. About a week after I got back, I got an email from him with a song idea that he'd come up with, inspired by our conversations about the record I was working on, and it was really a nice surprise. And that started our dialogue, and we continued working on the track and developing it into the song that it became, which is a song called Reinventing the Future.
Yeah. That's incredible. I mean,
it was kind of a funny story, kind of one of those things that kind of happens to you where you meet somebody and you have a lot of, similar interests and kind of a similar philosophy on life.
Yeah.
And then the next thing you know, you're, working on a track together. It's a great thing. Yeah,
when fate intervenes, you got to go with it, man.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. Geoff Tate, I've got to say, I've said it a few times. It's a tremendous honor to have you on the show.
My pleasure, and good luck in your new position, and I'm very happy for you.
That one went back to 2015, featuring Geoff Tate. Getting me a swig of my Diet Dr. Pepper out of my really awesome brand new Dr. Pepper tumbler that my aunt sent me. Such a great gift. I love Dr. Pepper. And plus, now that I'm not drinking alcohol, Diet Dr. Pepper is about all I drink. Okay, so Geoff Tate, that was back in 2015. Right now, if you want to see Geoff Tate on the road and hear that amazing voice, he's out on Geoff Tate's Big Rock Show tour, and down in the Southwest area right now, Texas, Oklahoma, Louisiana, that region. So if you do favor Geoff Tate, he is out on the road, and I guarantee it's going to be a great show. Hey, please check out our website, DaleJr.forPresident.com. You can catch up on all the recent episodes of the show, Loud and Unfiltered. Now you're thinking, DaleJr.forPresident.com. Well, we are in no way affiliated with Dale Earnhardt Jr. or his desire to run for president. LoudandUnfiltered.com was taken, so we went with the next best thing, considering I'm a huge NASCAR fan and obviously a big Dale Jr. fan. DaleJr.forPresident.com. Go check out some of the merch. When you're out on the platforms, the podcasting platforms, like, follow, subscribe, ring that bell, leave a comment, leave a review. It really does help. Just those little actions alone help more than anything. So I'd appreciate it if you did. I hope you have a fantastic one. Thanks for joining us again on Loud and Unfiltered. Please remember, be a good human. Get that Diet Dr. Pepper in you and stay loud and unfiltered, y'all.